AITA for giving my sister an ultimatum unless she babysits my daughter. Hi all. Sorry, I'm 28 female on mobile. During the great year of 2020, my sister 25 female lost her job and lost her apartment. It sucks all around. She loved her job and the area she was in, but she was the newest employee on a department that was the most likely to be downsized. She asked to move in with me. I live in the next major city near her and gave her an opportunity. I have a 3-year-old daughter, and around the time she had been laid off, my babysitter had to quit because of 2020 reasons. I live in a 3-bedroom house in the outskirts of town, so I offered that she gets her own room, bills paid, and groceries if she watches my daughter while at work until she finds a job, gets her job back. I didn't ask her to cook or clean. I prefer to cook, and I'll prefer to clean myself, so I know that it got done. At the time she agreed. I prepare my daughter's meals in the morning and meds every day, so my sister's job is to make sure that when I get home my daughter is still alive. It's been 2 months and they seem to have really bonded well, but she confronts me last night demanding she be paid $25 an hour every time she has to babysit. Her last job was $15 an hour, and she watched my daughter for about 8 hours a day 4 to 5 days a week. Her current bills, including car payments, student loan payments, and cell phone bill and credit card payments, the cost of the room, any activity that she takes my daughter on, pandemic permitting, and groceries add up to more than what she made in the past. I told her that I couldn't afford to house her, feed her, pay her bills, and also a sizable stipend. I might be able to do like a stipend per 2 weeks, maybe $200 a week for personal things. She told me she wouldn't watch my daughter any longer. I told her if she doesn't, then I would be making her move out following all legal proceedings and wouldn't pay her bills any longer. I have a backup babysitter who I would pay what they quoted me, but they wouldn't be living with me. They would have a living wage for the area, $20 an hour plus additional compensation for activities that they take my daughter on. My sister started crying and left the room. AITA. I feel horrible. I hate confrontation and being mean. Thank you for judgments and advice. Story 2. AITA for snapping at Sil over parentification comments. I do not permit this to be put on any YouTube channel, Twitter, etc. My 29 female daughter, who we'll call Zuzu, is 3 and obsessed with babies. She has told me she wants 700 babies when she grows up normal. And my wife has joked that going into her room at night is creepy, cause in the bed there's like 17 baby dolls and then our actual daughter. Naturally, when her younger sister Tenmo was born, Zuzu was over the moon. She came into the hospital room, jumped onto the bed next to me and told me I'm gonna be her new mama. She always wants to help with her sister. For a 3-year-old, that means small things like helping me pick out an outfit for the baby, holding her while she watches TV, helping with feeding the baby, etc. Zuzu is constantly supervised while doing these things, because she's 3 and can see a bird in the window and then all focus is on that. My Sil is solidly child-free, which is fine in her choice, but lately whenever she's been over and Zuzu has been playing with her sister, which nowadays means putting little sister in a doll stroller and parading her around the house, she has started going on about parentification. She has told us Zuzu will resent us for this, and that kids who are forced to be parents are depressed grown-up. Yesterday was no different. We were eating lunch and Zuzu asked if she could feed the baby some food. I actually said no, because we were in a rush, and Sil said, "See, that's what you should be saying. It's horrible and wrong, you would force a child into a parent position." Well, I had had enough and asked her to leave, and said that if she was going to keep making comments like that she wouldn't be welcome. Wife agrees with me and said if I hadn't said it she would have, but I've gotten some supremely nasty texts from Sil saying she was just trying to help. Some of my friends who are aware of the situation said I shouldn't have been so harsh either. AITA. Edit. Sil is 5 years younger than my wife, who is 32. They have no other siblings, and from what I have seen, wife has told me, etc., there was never anything like parentification ever. So AITA. Edit. Whoa, I expected a few replies, at least not this many. I have decided that I'm going to tell him tomorrow. Have a me and him day and explain it the best I can and answer what I can. Edit 2. Okay, so I told him, it's half term here in the UK, so he didn't have school. Around lunchtime I took him to get his favorite food. We then went for a walk in the park talking about family and stuff. Eventually we sat down and I told him about how I adopted him but I'm still daddy, and that I still loved him, but then I explained how I came to look after him. It's fair to say he didn't understand some things and has been a bit quieter than usual, but he cuddled up to me while I was watching a film I loved when I was a kid and said "I love you daddy" when I put him to bed. I'm feeling better and I hope he does too. To say it's been an emotional day is an understatement. Story 3. AITA for asking my daughter to contribute to her siblings' college funds. I 50 female have 3 children, 30 female, 17 male, and 16 female. My oldest has a different father from the other 2, and was obviously fairly grown once her siblings were born. I will admit that, during her teen years, my oldest took on a lot of babysitting duties in the house. I worked during the afternoons and evenings, so she would pick the babies up from daycare, and watch them until I got home at night. This unfortunately has led to my daughter and I having somewhat of a strained relationship as she's become an adult. She has told me that I used her as a second parent, and that it caused her a lot of stress and stunted her social life during adolescence. I know that I made mistakes as a mother during that time. We were struggling financially, and she always seemed eager to help with the babies, but I shouldn't have taken advantage of her like that. We've discussed it a lot in the years since, and though we still have problems between us, I like to think our relationship has made progress. Since graduating college, my daughter has become a financial consultant with an excellent salary. I'm incredibly proud of her and everything she's achieved. As someone who myself never attended college, and who has lived near the poverty line my entire life, it's so rewarding to see my daughter move up in the world. As my younger two children have been approaching college, however, I've been beginning to question how I'm possibly going to pay to put them through school. In all likelihood, they'll have to take out heavy student loans. I'd like to avoid this if at all possible. We all know how damaging student debt can be to young people. I approached my oldest and asked her whether she might be willing to contribute somewhat to her siblings' tuition. I emphasized that she could absolutely say no, or we could discuss the possibility of us paying her back over a period of years. I said multiple times that I was only asking because I wanted to consider all options, but if she wasn't comfortable with it I would drop it and look for alternatives. My daughter became very upset with me. She said that it was entirely inappropriate for me to ask, and that the only reason I would ever consider asking is because I've always considered her a second parent rather than a child. She said that my asking her for this has shown her that I've never learned from my parenting mistakes when she was a teenager. But I really don't think it's the same thing. Like, honestly, she's rich. She has the money. I don't think it's absurd that I might ask her if she's willing to do me a favor for the sake of her siblings, especially since I made it very clear I wouldn't be angry or upset if she said no. Thoughts? Edit. I put this in a comment, but since a couple people have asked about either my children's fathers, or about how my oldest paid for school. My oldest was put through school by her father. He lives across the country, and would visit occasionally when she was growing up, though he never had custody. He offered to pay for her schooling as a sort of apology for not being more present when she was young. I don't see him, but they have some amount of contact nowadays. The younger two have the same father. He ran off just after my youngest was born. Haven't heard anything from him since. I couldn't tell you where he might be right now. Story 4. AITA for refusing to share a car with my sister. For the past couple of months, I have been looking to buy myself a car, mostly because I'm tired of relying on other people for lifts everywhere. Just recently, my older sister Casey saw that I was looking for cars and decided that she wanted a car too. However, my parents told us that they think that we should buy a car together instead of each of us having our own, because they say it will save us more money, which is perfectly understandable. While Casey doesn't mind sharing, I bluntly told my parents that there is no way in hell I'm sharing a car with my sister. Here's why. My biggest reason for not wanting to share a car with my sister is because, as much as I like her, she is extremely possessive over everything. She tends to dictate how and when I can use the things we already own together, and gets mad when I don't comply. I've tried putting my foot down multiple times, but she doesn't listen to me. If I get my own car, I want to use it whenever I want to, not whenever it suits my sister. I think one of the big reasons Casey doesn't mind sharing a car is because she knows she'll be the one calling the shots with it. Secondly, Casey is set to go to college in another city next year. When I asked what would happen with the car, my parents said that she would probably take it with her. I think it's unfair for me to pay for a car that I won't even get to use for a whole year. I understand that she would need a car there, but I would be left like I am now, constantly relying on others to drive me everywhere. Another reason why I don't want to share a car with Casey is because, and this may make me sound entitled, I feel like I've already shared enough things with her that I don't need to share this as well. She and I are very close in age, less than 18 months apart, so my parents have taken that opportunity to have us share everything from clothes, to toys, to a bedroom until we became teenagers, to a flat for college. For once, I'd like to have something I can call my own. I've had this purchase planned for a long time, and now I have to settle once again to share with my sister. I've been wanting to buy a car for a while now, and my parents want me to buy a car together with my sister instead of getting my own car. I don't want to do that because 1. My sister is very possessive and would never let me use it. 2. She would leave for college with the car next year, which is unfair for me. And 3. I've already spent my whole life sharing everything with her. I don't think I need to share this as well. I told my parents that I would wait until next year to buy a car if I have to, but that I prefer that over sharing with my sister. My parents think I'm being unreasonable, and Casey is trying to convince me to change my mind, but I don't plan on budging. AITA.